I want this to be the only video to help you for now. And if you want this video, wallahi, like brother, sister, like from generally from my heart, like if you want this video to help you, please take this video seriously. Because bro, okay, I'm about to get to a rant. The video just started, but you know what? Yallah, let's go. Bismillah. Recently in my Discord server, someone came and they messaged something in the chat. It was a brother, and he said that I don't know how to fix my life. Like, how do I fix my life, right? Like, what do I do? How do I improve myself? And I'm just like, Akhi, you know what to do. There are so many videos, bro. I've made like 5+ videos on just how you can improve yourself. If you just go on YouTube right now and you search up how to improve yourself, you'll probably find 1,000 videos on how to improve yourself. We have so much information in our hands. Wallahi, this thing you're seeing right now, this phone, if we just use it properly, we could literally change our lives, bro. By the will of Allah. And yeah, look at what we're doing. Like, so this time, please, like, if you want this video to help you, watch this video with mindfulness. Actually watch it for a purpose and have the niyyah or the intention of whatever you hear from this video. Take the good, just take the video and listen to what I say and actually try to implement the steps. Okay? All right, let's go. Oh my God. There was a point in my life where I was extremely lost. Wallahi, akhi, like I was so lost, bro. I was so lost to the point where there was a time where I would be sitting like in the same bed that I'm sitting in. I don't know why I always sit in this bed. I feel like when I sit here, my videos seem more personal or something. I don't know, but like I was sitting in this bed. Imagine I'm sitting right here. I'm on my phone. It's 4 a.m. I haven't slept, and I'm just here scrolling my life away. And before I was scrolling, I was playing video games for like the last 4 or 5 hours. I was in a very tough time in my life where I was in a state of depression. I had zero purpose with my life. Absolutely zero purpose. And I felt sort of where you are right now, where I was literally like stuck. I felt stuck. I felt like I don't like where I'm going with my life. I don't like the trajectory I'm going, but I also don't know what to do. I was literally so lost. I was so stuck because it's one thing, like I didn't like the way I was living. Another thing is like I felt hopeless. I just felt hopeless. I felt like no one could help me. And at that time I wasn't super on my deen as well. So I didn't have taqwa of Allah. Like I didn't know, like I didn't have consciousness of Allah. I didn't fear Allah. I didn't ask Allah for help as much because of the fact that I lost hope. I literally lost hope. That's what depression kind of is, right? Like depression is pretty much like you've lost hope for the future in a way. Like that's at least a part of depression. I'm not saying that I went full depressed, by the way. I'm not saying I was like clinically depressed, but I had the depression of what most people have depression about, like no purpose. You call yourself a loser because you haven't achieved anything. You think you're not enough, and your life it's just dull. Your life is gray, black and white, and many other factors. Right? Depression's many other factors. You're just always sad. You're looking at your head down. You're walking with your head down and stuff like that. So I understand, and that's why I feel like a lot of the Muslims are sort of in this stage right now, because right now the world is in a trajectory. Okay, the world right now, what I'm seeing, and I'm super interested in this topic, by the way. The world is right now in a trajectory where it's literally the race for pleasure. There's a book called Dopamine Nation, which I haven't read yet. If some of you guys if you read this book, let me know. But it's literally the race for pleasure. Who can get the most pleasure as much as possible? Like it's like the race for pleasure. It's like, no, I'm gonna scroll the most, or like we've become a society where it's just literally like, I said it 3 times. It's like we've become a society where like that's all we do now. And the reason why we do that is because of the abundance of pleasure. The more pleasure we seek, the less purposeful and disciplined we become. My friend Ali, that one friend Ali that I always talk about, he has a YouTube channel, go check it out, right? My friend Ali, he did something on ChatGPT. This is kind of crazy, right? He went on ChatGPT and he searched up, if you had to destroy this generation, like if you were the devil, what would you do to destroy this generation? And ChatGPT replied by saying, I would make people go off their purpose, and I would normalize hedonism. Do you know what hedonism is? Hedonism is a concept of chasing as much pleasure as you can. Can you believe that? The more we seek pleasure, the less purposeful we become. That's why we're stuck. Akhi, that's why we're stuck. Because we don't have a purpose. And we'll get to that in a bit. Okay, I think the first thing I want to talk about is running away from reality. I think we are all running away from reality. As I mentioned, this links back to the lifestyle which I just said, which is a lot of people are just chasing pleasure. The reason why we chase pleasure is because it temporarily, bro, I can't say this. It temporarily, bro. Damn, I'm like embarrassing myself, man. Imagine my future wife's watching this. Astaghfirullah. Bro, we're temporarily distracting ourselves from the realities of this world. So a really good example is all of the Muslims here could relate is we hear a reminder about death. We hear reminders about the Day of Judgment. And during the reminder, like let's say we're sitting in a halakah, right? We're in a masjid. Or let's say you're watching one of those videos on YouTube. You know those videos on YouTube with like the sad nasheed in the background? You know what I mean? With a sad nasheed, and there's like a khutbah of like a speaker with like some images in the, you know what I mean, bro? Everyone like the 7 signs of Day of Judgment. Like we start becoming scared after those videos. All of us, we start becoming so scared after those videos because it tells us about the reality of the world, that the Day of Judgment is going to come, death is going to come, all of this is going to come, and it hits us like damn, like you know what I mean? But the issue with that is we then, after turning off the video, after going back home from the masjid, from the halakah, from the lecture that we just watched or that we were in, after going back home, we sort of just symphonize and go back to our regular lives of pleasure again. So after we come back home, we go back to our video games. What that does is now our focus is on the video game, and the reality of life kind of goes in the back of our mind. We don't really think about it anymore because we're focusing on this video game. Or we go back to our social media. Now we're in this virtual world. Social media is like a virtual world. When you use social media in a way, it's almost like you're in like another world and you're like constantly going in and out of a real world and a virtual world. Like it's actually a real world, bro. It's actually scary. So all of this to say, we are running away from reality, which is why we feel stuck because we are just chasing pleasure and we don't have a purpose to guide us through to guide us through. Which brings me on to the next chapter or topic, which is ungratefulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the fact that we are losing hope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just take that in for a second. I was thinking this, right? Allah is Ar-Razzaq. Allah is also Al-Wahhab. Okay? These are two names of the many names of Allah, of the 99 plus names of Allah. Allahu A'lam, of course. But the two names out of the 99 names of Allah, Ar-Razzaq and Al-Wahhab. So Ar-Razzaq, we probably know what that means. It means to give provision, risk. And there are so many types of risk. It's not just money. It's not just Lamborghinis and a house in Dubai. It could mean spiritual risk. It could mean guidance. It could mean so many various things. Risk. And Al-Wahhab, when Allah is one of his names, Al-Wahhab, is because he is the bestower. He gives gifts without asking anything back. Now, if you notice our entire lives, one of the best examples I learned from the Sheikh at the masjid last week at the halakah, when we were in the womb of our mother for 9 months, who the heck was feeding us? Who was keeping us alive in that womb for 9 months? We weren't doing anything. What were we like a businessman? Like, you know, were we like going out like doing business with people? No, we're just a we're not even a baby. We are fetus. Like that's what we are, fetus. For 9 months, who fed us? And you're gonna be like, our mother fed us. But who fed your mother? But then who kept your mother alive when she was in her womb, like in the womb of her mother, and then their mother and their mother? Like you know what I mean? Allah Azza wa Jal kept us alive for 9 months in that womb. So what makes you think that Allah's not going to keep you alive for as long as He wants you to live? And what makes you think that Allah's going to let you, Allah does not have a plan for you? So just so you know, from the moment you were born to the moment you're here now, I don't know what's your age. You were provided by Allah this entire time. You were provided by Allah this entire time. Meaning, you are fine. You are good, bro. You are doing well. And the reason why we feel stuck is because we are self-limiting ourselves from exceeding and from growing. So like the best example of this is when Allah says in the Quran, it is like all the bad that comes from them, all the bad that comes to them are from what their own hands have earned. Allah says this in the Quran, meaning that whatever bad that happens to us is from what we do with ourselves. So if we feel stuck and depressed and like unable to grow and we just feel hopeless, we've pretty much done that to ourselves because we've ran away from reality, and then we've understood that my life is clearly not where it wants to be, and now we start feeling the pain of that. Now we're just like, okay, clearly I'm not happy with my life. That's why I feel stuck and hopeless. I'm doing a sin and I don't know how to get rid of the sin, and so I'm doing this one habit and I'm just scrolling all day. We're starting to figure out that these things are not fulfilling us anymore. Now we're in this painful zone of feeling stuck. But only if we knew that Allah is already keeping us alive. So it's only our faults now at this point. So one lesson I want you to take from this is take responsibility. Wallahi, the moment by the will of Allah, I'll always say by the will of Allah, the moment I started to improve was when I took responsibility for my actions. I realized that I'm in control of my life because Allah gave me free will, but Allah ultimately controls my everything in my life, like even my future, everything, right? But like Allah gave us free will enough to control our daily things. Like I'm controlling myself to drink this coffee. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. But there's also something called qadr of Allah, and I'm not a sheikh or a scholar, so I'm not gonna come here and like explain the deen to you. I just give you reminders about Islam. That's it. I'm not a sheikh or a scholar, so don't get your fatwas or anything. I'm not gonna give fatwas, okay? But like, we have to take responsibility of our lives. We have to take responsibility over our actions, otherwise we won't change. Allah, as the Prophet ﷺ says, tie your camel and then trust in Allah. If you're someone who's not happy with the situation, tie your camel first. Take action by understanding and realizing that what you've been doing for the past 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of your life has clearly not brought you to where you want to be by the qadr of Allah. So maybe I was doing something wrong, so I have to now switch it and change it. I have to start changing this now. I have to live a different life now. I can't stop coping anymore because coping does not help me. But the moment you start taking responsibility of your actions and your situation, and the moment you realize that it's because of me, it's because of what my own hands have earned, inshallah, then you'll start to see something. So if we realize that, what we've been doing is kind of wrong this entire time, like we haven't truly been feeling fulfilled, we've been stuck, we're in a rut, we don't know what to do. So what do we do now? How do you go about this? What do we fix about our lives? So I guess the number one thing I would say is, you're in a rut, you feel stuck, you're not fulfilled, you feel sort of depressed, you don't know what to do. What I did is I chose a different pathway. I chose a different life. I chose to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning. For the first time in my life, purposefully, I chose to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning when before I used to wake up at 10, 11 a.m. So you're talking about 4 to 5 hours of extra time I'm getting now. I chose to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning, and before the first thing I used to do is grab my phone, scroll for 2 hours, just completely, and scrolling is not the only thing. I used to completely destroy my life. I went from that, bro. I went from that feeling like just draining myself every single day. I went from that to waking up, making my bed for the first time. Imagine, you're thinking these are small things, right? But that's where it starts, bro. For me, making my bed was new to me. I never made my bed before. Making my bed, I'm not with a phone anymore, so like I'm brushing my teeth properly now. I'm going, I'm reading books in the morning. I'm going outside. I'm journaling in my book, like in my thing. I went from a guy who couldn't focus in class, who was getting bad marks in school, who was just destroying himself with bad habits every single day, which destroyed his mental health, which destroyed how he viewed himself, which only made his depression worse. I went from chasing emptiness to feeling fulfilled. How? Because now I had a purpose in mind. My purpose was to become, honestly, to be honest with you, this was before I was super practicing on my deen, but my purpose was to become the best, top 1% male. And this might sound, oh, you're like an alpha male or something. Okay, listen, this was before I was super on my deen. Even then, that's better than not having a purpose. My purpose was to become the top 1% male. I wanted to become someone who's successful. I wanted to be someone who can, frankly, just provide for my parents, to not put them through hardship. I was tired of the life I was living, bro. I was tired. I'm just like, okay, it's enough. Enough is enough now. Enough is enough. I chose to improve myself. I chose to do good habits every single morning and every single day. I chose to remove my bad habits because I just didn't like it anymore. Why would I play video games? Why would I go back on video games? Why would I go back on these bad habits if I knew that they didn't bring me any fulfillment or any benefit for the last 10 plus years I've been playing these things? Why would I watch random like YouTube mindless scrolling? Why would I do that when that only made my attention span worse? That only drained and made me more tired. That only destroyed my mind mentally. That only made me less motivated, which turned into me getting bad marks in school. I couldn't focus in school. I couldn't focus on this. I couldn't focus on making money. I couldn't do any of this. I was too lazy, per se. I called myself lazy all the time, so you can only imagine. The more I call myself lazy, I'm gonna be more lazy. So why would I do stuff like scrolling? Why would I watch video games? Why would I watch TikTok? Why do I care about these TikTok creators, bro? Why would I care about them? All they're doing is milking my attention for their views. Let's be honest. Like, I'm talking about like the mindless creators. Even then, like, why are we on TikTok scrolling? Like, why? You know, that was my mindset. That's how I did it. I just had a very not hatred, but very like, you can say almost like a hatred, not for these people, but for these apps, but for the life that everyone else is living, the mediocre lifestyle. You know, just go to a job and, you know, come back home, watch Netflix, and like barely make any money. You get like 1 or 2 breaks a year, and you're working for a corporate boss who hates you, who doesn't respect you, and you don't have any freedom, and you're just sort of the slave in the machine. I'm sorry, that's how I felt about it, and I didn't want to be like that, and that required for me to become disciplined. That required for me to self-improve myself. So right now, step by step, what you should do is rethink your life, bro. You let your brain think for once, bro. Okay, let your brain think for once. Let your brain actually comprehend what's going on. We're so indulged in content and watching random videos is that we don't give our brain time to think anymore. So we don't actually know what to do. Wallahi, if you gave your brain and if you just contemplated and you made dua to Allah and you made dhikr like remembrance to Allah, and you're just sitting here for like 1 or 2 hours, you would find it, I think. You would find what to do. You would know what to do. You would know your goals, what you really want to be. You want to be big in the gym. Do you want to be strong? Do you want to be successful? You want to be strong in your iman. You want to have strong Islamic knowledge. You want to be a warrior of Allah. That's the message that we push on this channel, bro. Warrior of Allah. And the warrior of Allah encapsulates all of this stuff at once. Someone who's, you know, if you're a man, someone who's masculine. Like, you know, I'm nowhere near there, but that's the entire goal that we're all working towards to become there, to get there. I'm not here I'm not your teacher. I'm just your brother who decided to change himself 2 years ago, and I've seen progress, and that's why I make these videos to help you, so you can start doing the same thing. So you don't have to waste your life anymore. So you don't have to destroy yourself every single day scrolling on TikTok, playing video games, having no purpose. Because at the end of the day, it leaves you feeling depressed. None of these things helped you. None of these things benefited your life. Just empty pleasure. So from now on, bro, start to self-improve. How? Wallahi, don't make the mistake that I did. Wallahi, seek knowledge. Even if that's just learning like basic lectures, wallahi, seek knowledge. Gain taqwa of Allah. At the same time, have hatred for those sins, for those bad habits that provided you no benefit at all. Remove them, because that's not part of who you are. You've left that life now, but that's not who you are, bro. Scrolling is for little wimps, bro. Scrolling is for little, I don't want to sound arrogant, but let's just be honest. Scrolling is for just someone who doesn't care about life. Scrolling all day, like, no, that's for someone who doesn't care about life. You're not that person anymore. You are someone who has a purpose now. You are someone who wants to be someone like successful and with a purpose now. Like, you want to be purposeful. That starts with removing these things and having a hatred for these things because they don't benefit you. And that starts with to self-improve yourself. That starts with doing good habits every single morning, waking up early, not destroying yourself with TikTok first things first, reading your Quran, being productive. Wallahi, that's where real fulfillment comes in. And just so you wait, because that self-improvement, like when you start to self-improve Islamically, you will find that more fun and fulfilling. The more, like, you'll find being disciplined more fun than the fun stuff that we all do, like playing video games and random, like, going out with friends or whatever. You'll find being disciplined more fun because now your life has a purpose and a mission, and now you're waking up every single day to work towards that. So if you're someone who's lost in life, hopefully this helped you. Wallahi, I just literally spoke my mind. Like my phone is literally like closed. I don't even have like a script. I just kind of spoke my head. So yeah, I would say the last thing is subscribe to join the movement of warriors of Allah to remove these mediocre sort of like weakness from the ummah, the weakness of just like all the weak mindsets that are holding us back. You know, not pushing ourselves, just sitting in our beds all day scrolling and playing video games and doing nothing with our lives. We're trying to remove that. Not only are we trying to remove that, we're trying to remove all the weak political mindsets that are coming to the ummah. The weak men, the feminine man, as they say, the feminine male, the male who just listens to his wife and gets bossed around. We're trying to remove that as well. So, Assalamu alaikum. I love you. Bye.